If you want it, it can happen when you get out of the way. If you ask for it, it is given when you get out of the way. If you dream it, it can happen when you get out of the way. If you believe it, doors will open when you get out of the way. And it will come to you. It will come to you. It will come to you. Yes, dreams do come true.
All right. You can see we're just here for the fun of it. So anything serious happening, you guys create the agenda. So would you invite Esther and her friends up, please?
Thank you very much. Hello. That's nice. Hello. Goodbye. Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree? Yes. You are knowing what you are wanting? It moves about, doesn't it? You are enjoying desire? You like the feeling of desire? You like the feeling of desire even before it manifests? Yes, when it's fresh and new. New desires, even though they haven't manifest, often are exhilarating. But what about those desires that you have been holding for a while that have not yet manifested? How do you feel about those? Well, first we want to say to you that there's really no point in having any of those, because when you are understanding the process of creating, when you remember who you are, when you tap back into that feeling of worthiness that you were born with, then you don't have to be patient about desires manifesting, because they manifest quickly. In fact, the way you intended for it to be, you said, the contrast will inspire me to the new idea, because whenever I know what I don't want, I always know more clearly what I do want. And once I know what I do want, I will just turn in the direction of that, find vibrational alignment with that desire, and it will be. So you didn't come into your physical body planning on taking a long time to create anything. You didn't plan on struggling and suffering. You planned on choosing and focusing. But as you come into your physical experience, many people, even though they choose what they do want, you could hear it with their words. I don't want that. I do want this. I don't want to be sick. I do want to be well. I don't want to have a shortage of money. I don't want to be tight with money. I don't want to be deprived of things I want to do. I do want to have plenty of money. I do want to be able to make choices of what I want to do freely. I know what I don't want. I don't want confusion. I know what I do want. I do want clarity. In other words, you hear people all the time describing what they don't want, what they do want. But we want you to understand that it is not by virtue of the words that you offer that you attract to your experience, although words can amplify how you feel. It is instead you are offering the vibration that is what you would call the thought or the thought energy. You are vibrational beings, you see, far more than the flesh, blood, and bone manifested beings that you know yourself to be. So when you come to remember that you are vibrational beings first and foremost, then it begins to make a little bit of sense how it is that you are asking vibrationally, not with words. Sometimes, in fact quite often, someone really knows what they do not want. So they use words to describe what they do want, but not as many words to describe what they do want as words to describe why they don't want what they don't want. In fact, a lot of times, without even realizing you're doing it, you are explaining why you need something or why you should get something by amplifying how bad it is without it. Sort of like you're pleading your case to your mother. She used to come up with the goods. Finally, you just wore her down. All right, all right, all right, I said all right. But the universe is always responding to your vibration. So when you're focused upon being sick in your explanation of why you want to be well, you're keeping active within yourself the vibration of sickness, not the vibration of wellness. And so wellness can't come to you, not while the vibration of sickness is the dominant, most active vibration. When you get something stuck in your vibrational craw, and that's what a belief is, and sometimes the beliefs that are stuck in your vibrational craw serve you, and sometimes they don't. Expectation is the most powerful word relative to deliberate creating that we can find, because your expectation amplifies your desire, but really amplifies the vibration and where it is in relationship to the desire. In other words, when you want this, and you really want it, but you expect the opposite of it, it's a more active thing in your experience. But your expectation always wins, always wins, always wins. You have to train your expectation to match your desire, instead of letting circumstances train your expectation. In other words, you must let your desire train your expectation. You must let what you want about a subject train your expectation. In other words, your expectation, what it really is, since every subject is two subjects, like a long stick with wanted on one end and the absence of wanted on the other, whenever you activate a subject, your expectation, all it is whichever end of that stick you've practiced the most, you see. So you change your expectation by having some experiences which cause you to know what you don't want, so you know what you do want. But the funny thing about expectation, if you just let life as it comes to you give you a sort of knee-jerk response, then life trains your expectation. Then what is trains your expectation. You have an employee who doesn't seem to be trying very hard or can't remember things that you want them to remember, and you notice that, you let them train your expectation, and then you can't evoke anything different. And many would say, well, I really don't think it's my job to evoke anything different. I think it's their job to be the way they should be. And we say, but how's anybody going to know how they're supposed to be with the billions of people with whom they might just interact? Would you like to put a course on the internet to the world? This is the way I want you to be when you meet me. I might run into you someday in traffic or at the airport. This is my picture. When you meet me, these are my rules. It's not very logical. You can't even get your kids to respond to that, can you? And so what you want to do is get your expectation of people in general, of life in general, of hotels in general, of hotels who are bringing breakfast to your room. In other words, you have to get your expectation somewhere in the vicinity of your desire. You cannot let what is be the reason for your expectation. So we are amplifying the word expectation today in a stronger way than usual. Because as we speak of the three-step process of creation, the first step is ask, and life causes you to do that. So when breakfast doesn't come the way they want it, they ask and ask and ask and ask and ask. We're not kidding. They've been asking and asking and asking and asking. This is a 5-star hotel, they say occasionally. They should know better. They're asking and asking and asking and asking. Step 2 is source answers. Source answers. Because when you ask, a vibrational reality begins to form, and the non-physical part of you, the source, or that which you call God, your inner being, actualize around that vibrational request. It's lined up for you. Step 3 is you must become a vibrational match to what you're asking for. So that's where that expectation comes. I've asked for it, but what do I really expect? If I have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D, doesn't that mean I don't really expect plan A to work the way I wanted it to? Isn't that what it means? If I'm always saving for a rainy day, if I'm looking for trouble and trying to prevent it, if I'm looking out ahead in order to... Esther carried a hanger in her car for years just in case someone needed her to help them get their car open. Because it was so much fun to help them get their car open. Until one day Jerry said, well, now we're up to about 3 a day. You might want to leave that hanger home. When you get into this place of expectation, your expectation really is what rules your world. Because even though life is causing you to ask, what has happened is causing you to expect. And if what has happened is causing you to expect less than what you want, you have to train yourself. Creation is about focus, and focus is about being deliberate. And focus with your guidance system awareness is the best creating that can take place. So, as you sift through this contrast and